So, welcome to another little episode of Your Story with Lori. I've got here with me Jasmine Opal Rush, Lisa Rush's amazing daughter, also
Yeah.
studying to be a psychotherapist. I'm very excited. And a
Yes.
new division, which we need, especially nowadays with the medical, right?
hmm hmm
Okay, so you have your chart, right? And I have a
I
copy of your
do.
chart. I
Yes.
apologize to all the viewers that we do not have the chart, but we'll be talking in depth. So we're going to work on it and for future episodes of figuring out how Lori can figure out how to work on technology because that's not part of Lori's story.
Yeah, I totally
I
get that.
probably think it is. My North Node is an Aquarius, so I probably think technology is part of my story, but here we go.
Okay.
So as I was saying, you're like, okay, technical big three would be rising, moon, sun, right? Correct? But I like
Yes.
I like midheaven too. And they're not
Okay.
and your midheaven's in Leo, which means okay, so you've got your career,
Um,
that's like your purpose.
yeah.
Your north node is in Leo.
Okay. So very
Okay.
fiery.
Right. And then you've already got the south node, and I understand how the collective works. I'm here
Okay.
to bring that through the individual. So you're going
Yeah.
to do it. And as I look at your big fiery hair, I know that because poof, that's how it
Yeah.
works. You
Yes.
present this way,
Yes.
even though you have a Libra rising, which is beauty in your rising.
Yeah. I
It's a
have so
late
much fire.
right? You've got a late degree of Libra as your rising, so your moon being 4 degrees of Libra. So I would guess that you have a lot of dreams, right?
I do.
Do you think they tell the future?
Whoa. That's actually interesting because I was telling my dad today, I guess my dad had almost a car crash. It's not my story to tell, but
Oh
it
no.
was a very scary experience. And literally like 2 or 3 nights ago, I had a dream that I went off of a bridge in a car with like a car full of people. So I'm thinking, yes, I think they do.
Yeah, I always think when anybody has a moon in their spiritual house of Pisces, even though it's Libra for you,
Mhm.
it's your 12th house, which means you collect information from the ether in your dreams.
Yes, yes, yes,
Right? And you may talk about them, experience them. This is the beauty part of it is that you have that rising in Libra too, that you're going to be like, let's talk about this. Let's balance this out
yes,
so people can
yes.
be aware, correct?
That is so me. Yes.
And you
hmm
also have Mars in your first house, but technically it's in Scorpio. So let me just double check. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, first house. So your first house is a split first house.
What does that mean?
It means you have a rising and a late degree, and the rest of your first house is like all of like Scorpio, which is really kind of awesome. Okay.
Interesting.
Do people
Okay.
ever comment to you that you sometimes have a resting bee face?
Yes.
Yes. I have a Scorpio rising. My first house is not full of Scorpio, but my degree is
Okay.
29 degrees of like in like 55 minutes of, well, maybe 54 minutes. Somewhere in that. No, I'm sorry. It's not 54. It's like in the 20 minutes, 26 minutes or so of
Okay.
Scorpio. So I remember when the first time somebody told me that, you're just so intimidating looking. I don't know how to approach you. I almost giggled because I was like, but what?
Like how?
Right? We don't realize that we look when we're thinking and we're pensive, we have this look on our face like this. And
Yes.
sometimes that encompasses that first house when you have Scorpio placements
Okay.
in your first house. You have Mars, which to me denotes the amygdala, the physical body.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
having that in Scorpio means that you're going to appear like mysterious. People are drawn to you, but they don't know why. It's very good for a therapist.
I can definitely see that because I get like I feel like my reviews are 50-50. Either like they are super drawn to me right away or they were a little intimidated. Like I like you said, the resting bee face. Like I didn't come off as approachable.
Mhm.
So that makes sense now because I've wondered like if my rising is in Libra, like why do I have such
It
an
draws them in, but
unpredictability?
because I think because you also embody the presence of intensity, right? Intensity and transformation.
Yeah.
That makes people who do who have that fear of transformation, even though they don't know it up here,
Hmm.
it makes them right here react. But whereas your
Yeah.
friends are concerned, they're going to be drawn to you. You're going to have a lot of good friendships, a lot of good relationships. You're going to always be able to draw that in, but also remaining figuring out how to balance it because
Yes.
it's always seemingly unbalanced. I guess for a lot of the times you feel unbalanced, right?
Yes. Yes.
Internally and almost daily. That you're
Yes.
always trying to like breathe. I think, and this is what I tell my clients. I say, listen, you could, I don't want to say need, but you could use somatic exercises that will draw in that vagal tone balance to where
Yeah.
you're presenting like secure on a regular basis. Because the thing is, you're going to
Mhm.
have those moments of like, "Ugh, I need to just chill. I need to regain my like, energy. I need to
Yes.
recharge. Take
Right.
them, take them, take them, take them. You don't have to explain squat in your first house.
I've been getting really good at that.
Excellent.
And
That's
it's been making
wonderful.
people uncomfortable, but
Dude,
I'm like, it's a side
I
effect. It's working.
I understand this. It took me years, decades past your age to get to understand this about myself. And
Mhm.
even now I struggle with it. Even now I struggle with like the assertiveness, um, trying to maintain like the smiley face, the happy face while I'm doing because I have that split Sagittarius Scorpio, whereas you have the split Libra
Okay.
Sagittarius. I'm sorry,
Yes.
Libra Scorpio. So it's a little bit different. So you pull into your embodiment that psychological discourse, which is really observant, investigative, right? So you want
Yes.
to get down to the core of things. It's all in the I
Yes.
am. And then
Yes.
we move to your second house,
Mhm.
which is Sag, and you have Chiron. Now, let's talk about Chiron for just a second. People generally have their Chiron return at age 50. So, I've just passed mine. It's been this challenge, and plus coming into the Aries North Node with an Aries, I have an Aries Chiron. It
Okay.
makes sense, but you also have a fiery Chiron. So Chiron is your wounded healer. Wounded healers are the things that we carry throughout our lives that want us to transform the wounds we have into helping others. So we're transforming the
Mhm.
health in ourselves. So having that in your house of I have, it's almost like part of your toolkit,
I can
so it's
definitely
not
see that.
huge. You know what I'm saying? You can use them.
Yes.
It is part
Yes.
of your toolkit. It's not almost part of it. It is part of your toolkit. And then you've got, this is the best part. Within 7 degrees, you've got Pluto in the second house. So there's going to be
Yes.
these times when you perceive it to be like, I go into the underworld 2 seasons of the year and I come out in the other 2 seasons. And I think I follow you on Instagram, so I
Yes.
kind of can see this happening. Like I think, right? Your 2 seasons perhaps would be like where you're out and about or winter, weirdly enough, and summer.
Yes. Yes.
And spring and fall, you're like, "Mm,
I'm definitely inside spring and fall, always.
yeah,
And that's interesting because I do find myself out in the winter more in the summer. Huh.
yeah." Well, it's all part of like okay, fiery, and you think about Libra, which is an air sign, but it's a cool air sign. Then you've got a
It is.
lot. I mean, you've got a South Node in Aquarius, you've got a Uranus in Aquarius, you've got Neptune in Aquarius, all in your house of home, which would state that
Wow.
like during like these times, I'm just gonna be aloof and be by myself and just chill and be at home. I'll go to
Yeah.
class, I'll go do my things, I'll do what I have to do, but I'm not gonna be as social. I'm gonna be at home. And it doesn't
Yeah.
denote like specifically like, okay, only Aquarius season, but Aquarius season brings into Pisces season, which is your
Yes.
sun, spring.
Yes.
It
Yes.
starts the spring starting over. And I was told once, I don't know even where I heard this, but we live like our moon cycles are in quarters. So your moon cycle being in your 12th house,
Mm.
chances are like somewhere around fall, Libra season, and then you go back to the spring, you would probably be down. You'd be like,
Yeah.
not down, sad. You'd be like, I just need to just chill. I need to be at
Yes.
home.
Yes. Like I definitely have my hermit modes. I call them where I just need to
I
like
love that.
hermit cocoon.
Well, it makes sense because you've got one, two, three, four Aries placements, right?
Yeah.
So you've got Mercury, Jupiter, part of fortune, Venus,
Mm.
all in Aries, and that goes from like I think they're fifth. No, I'm sorry, fifth is sixth house, sixth house. Let me just double check this one. Mercury. Yeah, everything's in the fifth house per the Placidus chart. So in that, you've got, even though it's split fifth, sixth, you've got a sixth, seventh house like into Aries. Your seventh house starts with Taurus, right? So you've got a 26-degree descendant. So this is what I've heard about also because I, as a Scorpio rising, I have a Taurus descendant, which is kind of strange.
Oh.
Wait, do you have an Aries descendant? Hold on. I think you have an Aries descendant, but you have a Saturn and Taurus. My fault. But what that is like you're always like the quarters are like your seasons again, back to the seasons.
Mm.
When Aries season starts the new year, it's almost as if you're like right before the jump start. Like you don't mind spring, but you like to hang out and be chill. And then as
Yeah.
soon as we hit like around Taurus season, structure, relationships, it's
Mhm.
kind of like you have a cozy season that's pushed up a quarter.
Yeah.
And then
I
we
would say
go over,
so.
yeah, and then you go to your like, I think that, let me see where Saturn is. Seventh house. Okay, Saturn and Taurus in the seventh house.
Mm.
So I have a Saturn in the seventh house too, but it's not in Taurus. It's in Gemini, which is,
Mm.
yeah, my structure is flexible. Flexible. I like the word flexible. It is
I like
flexible.
that one too.
Well, because I have a good foundation, but I like to mute and change.
Yes.
Um, I guess my structural behaviors, but you have a solid one. So you basically act pretty much sturdy in that Taurus. Now I was going to say Taurus always gets what they want. I heard this sometime. And that's why I said, like me having a Taurus descendant, they said, well, you always get what you want. But I'm like, if you have a Saturn in Taurus at no, it's 0 degrees
Hmm.
placement. Yeah. If you put your focus and intention on it, you probably can get everything you desire. It's having that honing, fixation, building desire and focus on it that you really have to work
Yes.
on.
Yes. Like, especially when it came to like schools, I didn't really have a problem getting into the ones that I wanted. Like, you're
Yeah,
right.
you get
Like,
what you desire. Like your true
yes.
desires are always going to be met, true desires. But if it's a false desire, it's going to be impeded by the universe at every chance you get.
Mm, mm, that
And
makes a lot of sense.
that's a hard thing for me to like. I've had to really figure that out myself because it's like I
Yeah.
know when it's coming in that it's a false thing, and yet I'll play onto it for years sometimes.
Yeah.
Like this isn't really for me.
Yeah.
My whole physical being, and yet my egoic mind will click on. Again, that's the patterns that we
Yes.
decide we
Yes.
get into here on the planet, and they
Mhm.
go with like the lack, the scarcity. Oh, I didn't think I could ever have that, so I want it. You name it.
Yes.
A lot of that has to do with Gemini, but the luck with you have is you have Gemini in your eighth house transformation with no real planetary placements, which means doesn't mean you don't have work to do, but it means you have a Gemini in the transformation. So sometimes your transformations are going to be like um very mental, very like local. You probably have ideas about what you want to do in the neighborhood, about what you want to do when you graduate, where you're located,
Mhm.
type of thing. Doesn't mean you're going to stay there.
Yeah.
It just means you
Yes.
have ideas about being there. Like,
Yes.
oh, I
Yeah.
have definite ideas about where I grew up, no matter where that is, about where I was locality, and I'm gonna do some sort of work there, perhaps. I know that there will be transformation that I will be involved in there. And
Yes.
then Gemini, Cancer, ninth house. So that makes sense. Okay, so a Cancer is the house of like, home, hearth, the mother. So if you like to travel, you like to travel with your mom. If you like to, like, you have that like
I do.
openness with mom, right? I know this. I
Yes,
kind of
yeah.
have a bias, like I understand this information, but like it's like it's so like yes, I would love to like always do exploration with mom. And you
Yeah,
learned a lot of
yeah.
exploration from that mother
From
figure,
her. Yes,
right?
yes.
And there doesn't seem to be any like anything there. Like not that
No,
there's
that's true.
nothing to do, it's just like you don't need trouble or placements. Like, oh, there's a lot of work to do here.
Yeah.
It's gonna be easy and flow. Like the
Yes,
relationship is with ease, right?
yes.
And even
100%.
with your dad too, because if you go to the opposite house of the house of home where you've got the Aquarius,
Mhm.
is your dad an Aquarius? What's your dad's sign?
He's Libra.
Libra. Well, that makes sense about the rising and the moon,
Yeah.
but also like the
Well, he
house of the
he
father,
also
home.
has, I can't remember if he has a Libra moon or a Libra rising, so we also share one of those.
Perhaps. That's right. He has the same round birthday as Sheila. That's right. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So you have the Neptune in 3 degrees, Uranus in 14 degrees, South Node in 22 degrees, all in the fourth house, which tells me you're good in the fourth house. Like you like to some things abruptly happen, some things abruptly change, but you can handle it. And that you're also involved in like I would say like the dream life of that, like in that Neptune area, right?
Yes. Yes. And I feel like that also goes well with the one you were just talking about with like having ideas of locality. Like
You're a Gemini.
yes, like I just have ideas on ideas on ideas. Like I could just daydream different scenarios forever.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, okay, the fact that you said dreaming, that was daydream. Okay, so I'm looking over here at your North Node. Now, technically, I haven't heard any type of these placements in the invisible garment, but in the invisible garment work, 22 degrees is dreaming, and
Okay.
that's where your North Node is in 22 degrees. So is your South Node. So you like to dream into the void where you pull out the ideas in not just like you also have the North Node in your 10th house, is where your purpose is
Mm,
in Leo. So
okay.
it is time to shine. It is time to do all
Yeah.
the things that you're doing. Like everything that you're doing is on the right track. Keep flowing with the flow. I don't think you have much
Yeah.
water either.
I
Just that
don't, which is weird
Mars and
enough.
Scorpio. That's it. Mars and Scorpio.
Yep.
All right. It's not bad.
Yeah. It says two water and four
What's the
fire.
other what's the other water?
The sun sign.
Oh, dude, I totally forgot about Pisces. My gosh.
Yeah.
The biggest one of all. Okay, so yeah, because I was skipping over that completely. Okay, but that's important because it's also in 13 degrees,
Mm,
intelligence, actionable intelligence. Like, think about that. Like, deliver
yeah.
it. Your gift is to deliver intelligence into, I'm going to say it's in the fifth. Let me hold on. Let me see where your sun is in. Fifth house. Okay. Fifth house traditionally ruled by Leo, which is where your
Okay.
midheaven is. So I think this is where the
Yeah.
connection between your sun and what you do for purpose is very much there because it
Okay.
has that
Amazing.
matchup. So your sun being in, Pisces, but in the fifth house denotes like you work well with children, animals, you like to have fun, you like to speculate, gamble sometimes, but most of the time you like to have fun and learn and expand.
Yes. Yep.
Mhm.
That's me to the
Lots of
T.
like dramatic stuff, lots of like being in the forefront. I can
Mhm.
see that you're going to be a real leader in the new realm of the
Thank
field
you.
that we're all going
Yes.
into, right?
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
it denotes. Like that's what we're going to be doing here. There's a lot of forms of like
Yeah.
new ways we're going to do this. The old ways are going to become part of the interventions, but not, part of what we're doing going forward. I
Yes.
believe, especially
Yes.
looking at this. And you're
Oh, for
so
sure.
pulled down to that like second quadrant of the sociological, like you're going to help so much in society, like all pulled into the collective. You don't have much going on in your 11th house in Virgo, but the 11th house of the collective in Virgo means, like people's health, what you do for work. So it's like almost like completely, obviously opposite your sun,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
That
is
is so
great.
weird.
I love how our placements are our placements. Like it just shows up
Yeah.
so beautifully.
Yes. And it really does like tell the story. Like you can,
Yes.
I love how it just explains so perfectly like each individual.
Yeah. we have a blueprint. We each have a blueprint, and it's not, this is a basis. Obviously, they keep talking about the invisible garment work. That's another layer, I believe. Um, the human design, the
Mm.
gene codes, all of our energy is denoted within our physics, within our math, within our physical
Yes.
body. And there's a
Yes.
blueprint to that within our soul. And whether we allow our energy to drive us, that's,
That's up to
you know,
us. Yeah.
right. And most folks don't understand that. They think they have to really work really hard. I'm like, no, you just sit in your beingness
Yes.
and allow your being to feel itself, really feel itself, and then you can drive forward. Then you can allow the
Yes.
doingness, because the doingness comes from the beingness.
Yes. And the beingness will actually be the guide, which is the beautiful part about it. I
Yeah.
love it. And it's funny because I've been this is my second year in the program, and it's a 3-year program. And I think I have finally found the theoretical approach that I'm going to use in the clinic.
Yeah.
And I chose existential because that's literally like just
Yeah.
how I view the world already.
That's awesome. I love that.
Like everything we're talking about, it just, I love it. Like that's the other thing I love about the astrology, like you said, like it's up to us. Like at the end of the day, like this is just, like you said, the blueprint, but what we do with it is our free will. And so I guess the reason why I'm so interested in learning about it is I want to use it to help. Like I want to get the most out of my blueprint. I want to maximize it. So I want
Yeah,
to
you
learn
do.
as much as I can about it.
Well, it makes sense. Like that's that determination of the Leo. It's like, I think of the fixed signs like Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, all as builder signs, and you've got a placement in each of them,
Oh, very nice.
right? Taurus, Leo, Scorpio. Well, yeah, your North Node and your South Node, but you've also have other placements in Aquarius. Then you've got over here in Taurus, your Saturn, which is the way you view the world.
Mm,
And then over there in your first house of Scorpio, right? Split house, Scorpio, Libra, you've got
yeah.
Mars, which is your physical body, your amygdala, the way like you process things like fight, flight, fawn, freeze.
Yes.
And so the fact
Yeah.
that it's in Scorpio, I think would denote that you are a highly observant person. You feel the vibes very deeply, but as long as you can care but not carry the burden of others, you're going to
Yeah,
be a
that's been
major
my
success.
biggest, that's like been my biggest um double-edged sword up
Hmm.
until now. My whole life is I cared very deeply, but I also carry very deeply. And so especially like becoming a therapist, I'm really trying to balance out the like you can care very deeply, but you cannot carry it. And that's
Yeah.
been very difficult.
I would point that out as to be your sun, like your sun
That makes
Pisces,
sense. Yes.
because they feel the weight of the world oftentimes. They don't even realize it because they hold
Yes.
the end, the last house, right? But you're holding it there in like the fifth house. So you're like, all I want to do is enjoy this. And sometimes I get
Yes.
too deep into this. Oh, girl, I have a sun in the fifth house. It's an Aries, but I understand. I get so
Yes.
like I'm like I used to overpromise and underdeliver, and now I'm like I underpromise and overdeliver. Like it's been a work on that balance, and I understand.
Yes.
I have some placements in Libra, but it's not in my rising, so it's not there. But I feel yeah, like it's a very big balance when you're working in the helping fields in
Yes.
order to not carry the empathic burden of everybody else because you're taking it in every day.
Yeah.
But we also have our personal burdens as well. So we have to really
Yes.
remember to not like let it get to us. So what I've always done is I would utilize like people's situations as like, "Oh, okay, good. I thank you for showing me like all your vulnerability, so I know that I'm not alone in the vulnerability department." Like I don't say that to them directly, but I thank myself.
Yes.
Like I thank myself for the experience. I thank the experience, like the energy that comes into the room, all the
Yes.
people who come in with their like heaviness, right? They're carrying the weight
Yeah.
of the world. They don't have to as well.
Mm.
We carry a bunch of stuff from the macro into the micro about people in our worlds, but we're really there to help. But we feel such a burden because there's so many folks walking around with so much of an emanation of guilt.
Yeah.
that we feel obligated to really help. And the best way to help is to hold space, support, and validate. And let go.
Yeah. And let
You're
go.
available, but you're not like you have boundaries,
Yeah.
appropriate boundaries. I mean, I
Yes.
tell people a lot that I won't respond to, if they text me or whatnot via like only if I'm asleep or if I'm with a client, which is kind of true. Like I
Yeah.
have like a little bit of the OCD about my connectivity, but also in the realm of that, I don't get connected a lot with them because I open myself up. They know I'm available. Therefore, they know to work their own foundation first,
Right.
knowing that I'm the second step.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so it's like in its process. I didn't learn that. I mean, it's taken years, 20 plus years to get this stuff going. I'm not saying
Wow.
it's going to take you that, but that's why I'm here because doesn't
Yeah.
have to take anybody that long. And I want to like
Right.
make sure the ripple effect is like, okay, just you set in your beingness, if you do your grounding and your centering
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like understand that you are who you are and you're not here to be anybody else or try to compete with anybody else,
Mhm.
you can really get a really good foundation to help.
Yeah. And I'm just so grateful that I have such strong women around me and
Yes.
men
Yes.
to
All
help
of
me
the
because
above.
and I think it's obvious in my chart. I just soak it all in. Like I'm the youngest of five, and they're all 10 years plus older than me. So I feel like all my life I've just learned from everybody around me and been able to integrate that and share it back out. So I hope that I
It's
can
beautiful.
just continue to do that in my
And you
practice.
will. You will. Like your actions are in like think of yourself as your actions are in the tail of the fish. You already have
Mhm.
all of the energetic knowledge. Like
Yeah.
if you think about that, like if you really sit into your beingness, you can do that. So if you just kind of set into yourself,
Mhm.
I think the flow will be so much better for you, for
No,
everybody.
I would agree with that. And I think that's it's interesting that we're talking about it because it's something that I've been trying to incorporate more, like just being in the here and now and present and grateful for it and relaxing into it because I think of all the different possibilities, sometimes I'll try to control it. But like you say, like I'm just trying to let go and just go with the flow of it instead of like
Yeah.
wondering what's coming next in the flow.
Well, that's our egoic mind that has to know that needs to like put up like needs to know what's going to happen, right? Prepare, prepare,
Yes.
prepare. Where did that come from? Like I understand like it's come from an easement. We have to be like have this everything to be fast and easy. But I
Yes.
think that's almost as if it's a disservice to humans.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
they've forgotten how to feel what their flow feels like, and they are always thinking or stuck in sort of like a cycle of like an addiction or a cycle of like outside of themselves instead of tuning in here. And
Yes.
it does take a lot of activity. I tell my clients, I mean, I have to practice it daily myself,
Mhm.
and it takes a little bit to tune me up. And sometimes I can super get out of tune midday, depending on what I've listened to, depending on what
Mhm.
experiences I've had, right? And you know this. It's like the more you
Yes.
do this, the more you understand this.
Yes.
And it's just more like the self-care is the most important part. It's not selfish, it's self-fulfillment. And self-care just doesn't necessarily mean like your hair, nails, and
Mhm.
massages and going to the gym and whatnot. It
Yes.
also means like breathing,
Mhm.
centering, grounding, taking time to think of nothing for 5 minutes. Put your bare
Yes.
feet in grass if you can. I know the winter is almost upon us, but there's definite ways like the bilateral experiences that we can do. I mean,
Yes.
my favorite one is brushing my teeth with my opposite dominant hand. It's
Oh.
really broken up my neural pathways of old behaviors. Like even now, my right
Mhm.
hand is like, that's awkward to brush our teeth with our right hand now.
That's awesome. So
But
do
what
you
else
do
can
you
I
do it
do?
consistently?
Yeah, pretty much every day. Sometimes I
Oh,
mix it up. Like in the middle of the day when I brush my teeth the second time, I'll go to the right hand, but that's where it feels like. But I want to do that so I don't like get out of like, I really want to make sure that I'm always like ready and on point, to
that
keep
makes
like,
sense.
so I'm always toned, creating new patterns on a regular basis instead of getting stuck in just a left handed pattern. It broke
Yeah.
up my right-handed pattern. It doesn't mean that I can't create, a bilateral pattern, which
Right.
is like what we do when we're crossing over meridians, right?
Yes. Interesting.
Right
Now,
hemisphere, left hemisphere, they operate the opposites.
that's so crazy to think about. Like, because I would have never thought to brush my teeth with the other hand, but I
Yeah.
can definitely see how that could be like grounding.
Yeah. It's definitely like confusion. Your brain's like, what? Your hand,
Yeah.
literally my right hand still pops up because I'm right-handed and says,
Yes.
it didn't say anything to me, but it's like almost like I'm here to work. And I'm like, mm-mm.
No, we're
And I'm
doing
like,
that
and I'm really
again.
trying to get all the areas because it's still awkward a little bit, and I have to change it around and
Yeah.
move it around because I have the electric toothbrush, but I love it.
Right.
And occasionally, again, I'll give the right hand like a chance. And it's like, thank you. And we do it, and that's a little bit awkward for a bit.
Yeah.
Go
Then
back to
you're
the left
like,
hand.
wait,
My teeth have never been happier, I'll tell you.
really?
I don't know. It might also be the electric toothbrush. If
Who's
you
to
ever
say?
talk to my mother, she'll say she was like horrible about brushing her teeth when she was a kid. Like, what? What? But now I'm like, oh, I can't stand it. Like, oh, I just ate. Yeah, I gotta figure that out.
Yes. No, I get
Surprised I
that.
don't carry around my electric toothbrush, but like I'm mostly close to home these days post COVID. But
Oh, very
I'm
nice.
looking to branch out as much as I wanted to. So
How lovely.
that's what we're doing. That's the expansion, branching,
Yes.
expansion. Like things that kind of
Yes.
go with each other.
Definitely like forever growing.
Right. Absolutely. You go, girl. I love it for you.
Thank you so
You're
much.
so welcome. You have the best chart. Like everybody's got the best chart. I love looking at people's charts. Everyone has the best chart. Like we're all
I love
amazing
that.
beings, right? And the more we
Yes.
can tell ourselves this, the all those people living in like the 3D, life has to be hard and cranky and screwing people over and all that stuff they're doing. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
look at your chart. Let's look at your chart.
It's just, yeah, right? It's like,
You don't
just
have
know
to like
yourself a little
hold
bit.
that negative stuff with you.
Yeah.
Realize it's a pattern. You're putting stuff onto who you truly are as a gem. We're all
Yeah.
little gems,
Yes, definitely.
right? I love it.
No, and
Oh,
I'm so glad to have been able to learn more about it because I didn't really know much about the houses. Like, I never
you've got
thought
some
about the
good stuff.
degrees.
Yeah, well,
That's
you've got like
very
it's like almost
interesting.
like flipped because Aries is the first house, and you've got a Libra first house, which is denotes the seventh house. So relationships are in your forefront of your
Yeah.
beingness. So you're going to be very much aware of them, but also wanting to always balance them. So you're probably going to be great as a mediator as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I never
Mhm.
thought about mediating, but I
Well,
I would
think
be
about
good
the
at it.
medical issues you're going into where people are going to
Yeah.
have like, they're going to be opposing.
Yes,
And you're going to be in there as
definitely.
like, let's mediate this. Let's talk about
Yep.
compromise. Let's talk
Let's
about
just dive in.
collaboration, peacemaking. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what Libra reminds me of, peacemaking.
Yes, and
Oh,
I
I
do
love
have
it for
quite a
you.
bit of Libra, so that does help. Yes.
I think it also helps that you've got this descendant of like a badass Aries. Right?
Yeah.
Aries are really like I feel like that sometimes. I don't mean to be like such a harsh or sometimes so goofy or giddy, but like we're all like a lot of
Yeah.
stuff, but we're all in the head. We just want to keep moving. Good
Yes.
Lord, I can't. Like sometimes when
Yes.
I'm so bored, I say this so much. I'm just so bored, and that brings so much. Like before, and even sometimes recently, it's brought like like sometimes it brings not so great things into your life. Like again, that's a
Yes.
downward spiral. So when you're in that moment,
Yes.
like remember when you're content that you want to be hopeful and optimistic and not slide into boredom. Because Aries
Yes.
don't like to be bored, so
Yeah,
I don't like to be
because
bored.
that happens quite a bit, especially because I have so much Aries. Like
Oh,
I get
girl, you got
bored
fire
quickly.
upon fire.
Yeah,
I love
I
it.
do.
Well,
And in
I have
heavy
Sag.
hitters too. Like,
Hmm. Oh, for Venus and Aries, no less. I mean, God help your spouse one day.
yeah.
And Jupiter, right? And
It's
then,
funny
right?
because that specific conversation has come up quite a bit in the past 2 days specifically, where I said my dad always told me growing up, I feel bad for your future husband, and I didn't get it. Like growing up, I was like, why? I'm just the greatest. But then I got older and I was like, I agree with him. I also feel bad for my future husband.
I would think if you find somebody to correlate with that Venus and Aries, you're gonna have no problem. Like somebody maybe who
Yeah.
has a Venus in Libra, perhaps, like a nice.
Oh, like
match, like a
balance.
filling up the space, or
Yes.
even, some other air sign, perhaps.
Okay.
They might not annoy you. Sometimes Aquarius, my husband's Aquarius, Venus, and I don't have Aries in Venus. I have Gemini. Do you think
Okay.
sometimes we can relate on the air together, but there's something
Yes.
like you're just so stuck. You're just so stuck. You're not opening your box. You're not thinking outside the box.
Yes. Yes.
Pessimistic type of situation. I sometimes feel that way. But you don't have that problem because you've got like outer planets in Aquarius and a north south node in Aquarius, which means you've already completed the Aquarius collective, I would say, lessons in your energetic expansion as other
Okay.
energy,
Okay.
whatever
Yeah.
that means, whatever that means in the world. It could be reincarnation, it could be anything. It could just be like your energy expanded, expanded, expanded. I have to believe we're all expanding energy per Einstein.
Very true.
That's
Yes.
what I'm choosing to do the science along with the art and the math
I
and the
love
physics.
that. You can do
Right?
everything.
We're the like everything anyway. We always have been.
Yes.
And we're like, they go, you're
Yes.
just humans. Like just humans.
We're
Yeah,
human.
just human with the divinity that's living in here that's so.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, thank you, Jasmine, for this awesome talk.
Thank
This has
you
been
so
wonderful.
much.
Great story.
I'm
You're
so
so
happy we
welcome.
got to do this.
Me too. I look forward to seeing you guys real soon. I will
Yes,
text. I'll be
definitely.
texting y'all about that. I thought I'd be here soon, but I'm not coming this weekend.
No
But I will
worries.
call. But I'll be
Yes.
there soon. You know how much I love North Carolina.
Yes, I know. I can't
All
wait to
right.
see you soon. Have a
I miss you
wonderful
guys.
evening. We
But
miss
thank
you
you. This has been
too.
a wonderful story.
Yes, thank
Jasmine,
you.
like I'm gonna say Jasmine Opal Rush. What a wonderful name.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Have a good
Take good
night.
care. Bye bye.
Bye.